Alright, I've got two new drivers in my hand and we're going to test them. Two new Srixon drivers, the ZX5 and the ZX7. So ZX7 is a different shape to the ZX5 to kick us off. So 7 looks more like the player model, where the ZX5 looks a little bit more squished out and a bit friendlier, which I'm on the course. We've also got some inside ball data as well. It'll be a fun one. Shall we get stuck in? ZX7 to kick us off, which is definitely the one that looks to me more round, more classic, more beautiful. It's black top, black face or greyish face, very round, classic shape. You see the carbon on top sits very square. Oh, it's a nice sound actually. It's a real combination of that carbon and tingy, so it's not as carbon sounding, kind of almost as the look gives. ZX5 definitely kind of longer, squished down more. I think people will make this one, they almost feel like it's a bigger head. We will look at the tech in a second. I don't think it is. It's just stretched out more. Oh, that's nice as well. It's a similar sound. There's nothing in between those two for sound, to be honest. That was the better drive. Should we have a look at the tech? Let's see what Srixon are saying about these two drivers. So let's see what Srixon are saying about these two new drivers. So both the 5 and the 7 are featuring the rebound frame. So they're focusing more energy into the golf ball rebound frame. Unique structure increases ball speed and distance, and they're helping you on those off-center hits, is what Srixon are saying. They've got a 15% larger carbon crown. These carbon crowns are amazing when you get them in your hand. They are like so light and thin. By having a larger crown, they can reposition weight. Again, trying to increase MOI is the idea. And as well, obviously you've got the movable weights in the 7. So the changeable weights, the 7 over the 5, you basically heel and toe weighting. So you can move it into one side, keep it even. You can literally try and get it biased into what you would most enjoy. I mean, I found with the 7 that you'll see that I tended to fade it a bit more, so I would probably be going more into heel with something I would test if that was the shape I wanted to go for. Both clubs feature the neck sleeve, allowing you to move the club around, again trying to dial it in to match your shot shape, visions, those kind of things. And try not to think of these. They're marketed as draw and fade settings sometimes, and close and open, those kind of ideas. They can calm down how much you curve the ball is maybe a better way of describing them, rather than getting you someone who fades it into someone who draws it, which I think is a bit of conception that all the manufacturers give that out a little bit, and that's not really what I see in my testing. And then the 7 has a more refined tour shape, which is something you'll see me talk about throughout the video. It's definitely that kind of rounder. I think the 7 is what you're going to see on tour a lot more maybe than the 5. But as you watch the video, you'll see my opinion on these two drivers kind of flip around as shape and performance start to mold into one idea of if it's a driver I could use or not. Let's see if I can take this over the corner. So I'm going to hit it as hard as I can. Again, the 7 to start, ZX7. Looking forward to seeing the numbers on these two. Absolutely prefer the look of this one. Oh, I hit that good. And that is the line. It's going to have to fly for me. It's right on my limit. Oh, I heard it clip the tree. Let's see if the 5 can make it. Again, hit that good. I've just cut it a little bit, so that's now not going over the corner. I do like the fact that both of these drivers sound the same. I'm not a massive fan of one being carbony sounding and the other one being really tingy. But where I like that sometimes that maybe gives some different options, and that makes sense. I like the fact that I could gain both of these on shape and when we look at the numbers inside. I also like that they both sit neutral. You know, I like the fact they've got pretty much the same tech. You've just got some different shapes and probably some different spin models. It's giving me the option to play both of them. Again, I think that's a positive. Interesting point here, look. Here's my 7 drive. I'm trying to knock it over these two bunkers. I caught halfway up this tree. So you can see I'm flying this one but landing in the second one, so I have to kind of go left of it. The other shots, ignore the 2 practice balls over there. There's the other one, which actually, out of these 2 drives, that, even though that's on the fairway, that was the worst drive. This one I've now got to hit a recovery. I'm semi-rough. And this is something really interesting to think about stats. Stats is going to mark that as a fairway ball, and this as a rough and a next shot recovery. So it's going to lose shots on strokes gained and all the rest of it. This was much more my intention. I just haven't got the speed this early in the morning or ever to achieve what I was trying to achieve. You can learn from your stats, but you've got to be careful how you read them as well. This is my preferred 7. It's further on this instance than up here is the 5, but the 5 again was straighter. At the moment I feel a little bit more fadey with the 7. Obviously the 7 has the weights and I'm not moving them around, so I could move them around, and I would want to hit much more shots. So I think we'll get one more drive outside and we'll go inside and let's check out the numbers on these two clubs. So 7 to start again. Nicely, got the right centre. Take that, it's absolutely decent. Again, like the sound. If we compare that up to the 5, and I'll be interested to see how this plays out inside. 5, I like the way they both sit square, love that. Like the way they both got the same necks and kind of movability. Obviously you got the weights in the 7 if you want to go heel toe with weighting. I prefer the shape of the 7. I seem to be liking the performance of the 5 a bit more though on the course, and I really do think this part is kind of underlooked a little bit, underplayed, because we test inside on ranges, but getting it out in situation and feeling if I can hit shots, as much as you can recreate that inside if you don't get the chance to take these outside, is just really key. I mean, I do just get, and again let's go and see the numbers. The 5, I just seem to be hitting it better, and I don't know what that is. This small data capture set, just me today. Let's go and delve deeper into it inside. Let's kick us off with the ZX7. Let's see if this reflects what I was getting outside and what we're actually getting out of it then. One interesting point to note, which I'm really happy with, is that Srixon have made all the keyable parts, so where you put your key in, the universal key that fits in every club. It used to be their own one. That was so annoying, where now it's actually use any key, basically. And I'm sure fitters throughout the land are very happy about that. So similar to what I saw out there, I like the shape. I'm starting to hold on to a few shapes of my shots, which I like to see. He says as he just push cuts one. Like that shape, feels good. Let's see what the 5 does, then we'll compare the numbers. Again, nice little turn to the left, which does feel a little bit easier than that. I could set the other one up in a different way. I'm not a massive fan of that. For me, I like everything to be really quite neutral. Again, there's nothing in here that I wasn't feeling outside. I'm slowly starting to feel like the 5, I prefer the shape of the 7, but I like the shape of the 5 more and more the more I hit it. I do feel like, well, we'll see what the numbers say, but I would be choosing 5 at the moment. It just feels like I can do more with it. Like that, and arrow it. Right, one more and we'll have a look at how these compare. I just think I'm going to get better numbers out of the 5, which really surprises me because I just prefer the look of the 7. And I think the 7 will be what you see gamed on tour more, but the 5 is impressing me more and more as I hit it. That's a massive carry for me. Right, let's take a look at these numbers. Let's see what we're getting out of these two clubs. Let's go into the compare screen, I think. Okay, ball speeds very similar between the two, 53 and 53.5, so 153 averaging. My ball speed plagues me. I struggle to get that up. I want to get it up into the 160s, but that's a different video. Launch angle different, 14.4 compared to 12.9 with the 5. Now what's going to be interesting, I presume, well, that's amazing actually, both struck in the same spot. I was expecting the average strike to be higher for the 7 to launch like that. And then the spin on the 5 for me just coming down a little bit lower as well, 2000 compared to 2002 with the 7. And then resulting carry distance, I mean, you can call them the same. The 5's 2 yards further on average, but I wouldn't say it is. I would say they're pretty much the same looking at those numbers. My efficiency was 0.1 more with the 5. The head speeds averaged at 108, so again, exactly the same. Dynamic loft a little bit more with the 5, 2 degrees. And then you can see path and face deliveries very similar, and angle of attack very similar. Two clubs, I would say they're performing very, very close to each other. Not much in that. I mean, I can literally pick them on size. I'm getting a slightly flatter flight that you can see in the top left here with the 5, which is giving me a little bit more resulting predicted rollout as well, 4 more yards. I mean, it's something to think about. For me, out of those numbers, I think the 5, and you can see the dispersion average is very, very similar, slightly tighter in the green compared to the red, but again, I would play with it. That's me. I just so feel like that's me so much. If we look at the data sheet, I'm topping out here at a 173 carry with the 5 centered hit, upwards of 3, slight draw spin on that, which I really liking where I'm striking that. That's where I'm getting my max on those ones. And then if we go into the 7, I'm topping out, my longest hit is actually with the 7, 174, believe it or not. Again, very centered hit, which is giving me that best results. A 2 degree spin axis to the right, so again, a very controlled flight, not really much is going to go wrong with that. And nice 3 up angle of attack as well, hitting up and nearly out at that one. If we look at another shot here with the 7, that slightly higher strike on a few of these got my launch angle just a little bit up into the 16 degrees, again from that slightly higher strike as I change these two on, as you strike in different parts, obviously that's going to show through on the data as well. For me, they're kind of performing exactly the same. How I react to what I look down to and how I feel it might perform is what I'm personally seeing as the biggest difference. And again, I just think it shows really the importance of custom fitting. As I hit the 5 more, I'm literally liking it more and more and more. They're starting to blend in shape the more I look at them. Out of those two, I would definitely pick the 5. It makes me feel like I can hit the desired shape that I want to hit now, where the 7 to me just felt a little bit like I'm going to miss both ways. Again, that's how I'm interpreting the shape of those clubs from those numbers to very good performing clubs, and maybe something that could be added to the test list. Let me know in the comments down below. Srixon Drivers, is it something you tried or not? Definitely not the most demo driver out there, and for obvious reasons, not in every pro shop, those kind of things, but you can see from my numbers there, kind of doing as good as anything else I've ever tested really. In that comment section down below, let me know what you think.